some women, the pregnant women from the America, and they were not happy with the fact that when they are pregnant, they have to stop all their activities and they need to be kind of confined to home. So they kind of protested, and then the American College of Gynec, they came with some guidelines. And now the recent guidelines which we all are following is from the American College of Obs and Gynec. So first thing, before any women, before you start any assessment or physiotherapy with any pregnant woman, you have to have a medical clearance before you take this lady in your system. Okay, so medical clearance could be her gynec has suggested, or if you can have a word with the gynec, that would be the best thing. The exercise prescription need to be individually based. Antenatal program cannot be like we have some post TKR or THR. We don't have a set exercise. Okay, you can't say that, oh, this is first trimester, these are the exercise blindly. No, you can't do that. You have to individually you have to decide. You probably have to change your exercise probably every week or every fourth day or every second day, depending upon your participants' response. Okay, because pregnancy, every day there's a new change happening. Then the exercise, then the regular mild to moderate activities are actually prescribed. No high intensity exercise during pregnancy, no matter what. Then these exercises need to be intermittent in nature, meaning you have to give them a plenty of, not plenty, but you have to give them a break. For example, if you have made them do something in standings, then you just give them a break for a few seconds before you switch to another exercise. Then gradually increase the exercise intensity and duration if the lady was previously sedentary. So knowing the fact that most of us, because of our workload or any other factors, that most of the women are quite inactive, they're not physically active otherwise. So with such women, you have to go slow. You probably have to be in that mild intensity phase for the entire trimester. Then maximum heart rate limit is they have given is up to 155 beats per minute, which is recommended. But the level of intensity higher than this can be prescribed on individual basis. For example, if the lady is an athlete who's already got a very good stamina, cardiorespiratory stamina and strength, then you probably you can little bit play with the heartbeat. Then walking, cycling, swimming, low impact aerobics and stretching, these are the recommended activities. Walking, we all know that every doctor asks for a lady to go for a walk. Outdoor, then they can definitely go for the static one. Swimming, the aqua exercises are the best one. If nothing, what I ask for the pregnant women is the pool walk. If nothing, they can just go and walk in the pool. That is enough for them to be physically active. Someone's mic is not mute actually. So then do not exercise in supine position after 4th month. You might have heard that the gynec asks lady not to be in that straight line position, especially from the 2nd trimester onwards. So it's not that they cannot go into supine at all. It's just that you should not be in that position for a longer period of time. There are many exercises, for example, bridging or some exercises which we make them do, making them lie in supine. They can probably do one exercise in supine, and for the next one, you can probably take them into the sideline position. And then again, bring her back to the supine and go to the other side position. So you can keep changing. Just make sure that she is not in that supine state for more than one exercise. You can change the positions. The reason being, when she is in supine, it's the inferior vena cava which get compromised because of the developing fetus. And we all know that the venous return and epididyma, these are the common problem which a pregnant woman goes through during pregnancy. So if this women lie in that position for a longer period of time, we may aggravate this complaint. Then stop exercising when fatigued and do not deliberately reach to the point of exertion and get plenty of rest. So pregnancy is it's not a state of getting fit or improving your fitness level. Okay, this is not that. It is a state where you have to maintain whatever you have got, and you have to condition all your system, right from musculoskeletal to the cardiorespiratory. You have to regularize your hormonal system, as well as you have to balance your nutritional level as well. So if the lady is getting tired, if she's feeling weak, then you definitely have to give them a break. You cannot push that, okay, no, you can do this generally how we do, two more or three more. No, you are not going to push them at all. You have to respect their feedback of fatigue or lethargy. Okay, then do not perform exercise that can cause a loss of balance. I think this is very clear to all of you that we cannot make them do any balance exercises. Someone can say that, especially in third trimester, women feel a kind of, they face a balance issue. So this balance issue is not at all because of something is wrong with their balance or the proprioception. So don't start any balancing exercises. It's just because of the belly, which is now at the peak in its size, and the women actually doesn't have a clear view of a ground, and she's quite apprehensive in third trimester that what if she falls, what would happen. So she has a fear, anxiety, and very, very apprehensive, and that is the reason she feels that she may lose her balance. So do not make her do any balance exercise. Eat an additionally 150 to 300 kilocalorie a day, and drink plenty of fluids before, during, and after exercise. So we know the nutritional demands are now double, because now the lady has to have to eat for the developing fetus also. So the demand is already higher. And yes, you have to ask when a lady is walking in that when did she eat last. She cannot go into hypoglycemia, which is very common. If the lady she has had some breakfast 8 o'clock in the morning, and she's coming to you 12 o'clock in the morning, ask this lady to carry something, some snacks or something which she likes to have. Obviously, most of the time these ladies do carry, and ask them to carry energy drink, juices or something when she's coming for the exercise session. Though physiotherapy exercises doesn't make them exhaust, but still it's always safe, because they can feel little lack of energy, and in that scenario you have to give her a break and let her have energy drink or a juice or anything if she has to eat. Do not exercise when it is hot or humid or when febrile. Wear clothing that is cool and allow ventilation. Do not exercise when it is hot and humid. The reason being, during pregnancy, we have some thermoregulatory changes. You might have noticed pregnant women, otherwise, as compared to the other women, they sweat a lot. They feel hot. They feel like, oh, even the AC is on, you probably feeling little cold, but she would probably be sweating. The reason being, during pregnancy, there are thermoregulatory changes, and the core temperature, the fetus core temperature is around 1 degree higher than the mother's core temperature. So the only probable risk of exercise, it's not the documented, there's no evidence, there's no incidence which has been documented, but this is the probable risk of exercise, that increase in the core temperature of a fetus can lead to the congenital malformation. That's the only probable risk. So you have to make sure the lady is not sweating while she's exercising. Make sure that she's not exercising in hot or humid atmosphere. But now this also varies. If somebody is from tropical areas where otherwise also she's quite accustomed to live in that hot and humid weather, you can't make her, you can't say that, oh no, it's really hot, let's do exercises in the AC. Now the lady is acclimatized, the body is acclimatized. So you, in such a scenario, you have to use your brain, you have to use your reasoning. That somebody who's been living, for example, if I say Delhi, if I say Ahmedabad, like these are two very hot tropical, I can say, cities. The lady is getting exhausted, she's sweating, then in such a scenario, you can't make her do exercises. Bouncy, jerky movement, it should be first reduced and then avoided during the third trimester. So again, this depends. It's not applicable for the sedentary women, maybe for the athlete, maybe for the wrestler, maybe for the athletics, the one who is always into athletics. You can still take a call, but definitely not at all in the third trimester. Then you have to avoid high altitude activities and scuba diving. Uh, it is partially applicable to Indian population. It's partially not. But if you see in Western population, the high altitude activities and scuba diving are very common activities which the women are involved in. But during pregnancy, they definitely have to stop all of it. Then participation in the competitive sports. It is acceptable during first 16 weeks of pregnancy if the risk is accepted by the women. This is not you who can take a risk, who can take a responsibility. That would be the lady's responsibility if she's ready, if she really wish to take this risk. But after 16 weeks, definitely she cannot go for the any competitive contact sports. Lifting light to moderate weights, it is encouraged to develop or maintain the strength, but Valsalva maneuver should be avoided. So Valsalva maneuver, I assume that we all are aware of. Just to brief you that the Valsalva maneuver involve your breath hold. Now, during pregnancy, the lady's respiratory system is also going through a lot of alterations. So the cardiorespiratory is also loaded. This system has to work harder. And the amount or the demand of oxygen is also higher. So no matter what, even while she's exercising, no matter what, she cannot go for the breath hold because we can't take a risk of reducing the oxygen supply to the exercising muscle or to the developing fetus. Then you need to know the warning sign to discontinue the exercise, and immediately you should consult with your prenatal healthcare advisor. So I'll be mentioning those warning signs. Okay. Now, there are some absolute contraindication. If a lady is diagnosed or she's a known case of these conditions, then obviously you cannot take this lady in your system. So like hemodynamically significant heart disease, she's absolutely contraindicated for any antenatal classes. Restrictive lung diseases, as I clearly mentioned, the cardiorespiratory system is hyperloaded. It is working harder to supply the demand and the need of the developing fetus and the mother. Then you can't consider the system which is a mother whose system is already compromised, right? Then incompetent cervix, then multiple gestation at a risk of premature labor, then persistent second or third trimester bleeding, then placenta previa after 26 weeks of gestation, then premature labor during the current pregnancy, then ruptured membranes and pregnancy-induced hypertension. So these are few absolute contraindication which you need to be taken care. And that is the reason I said the first guideline is obtain the medical clearance. At times, the lady would just walk in or just call you that she want to enroll for the antenatal. It happens, and she probably do not tell you the history of her medical condition. So, like in any other condition, even for the antenatal classes, you have to take a detailed history, at least when the lady is walking in for the first time. Now, coming to when to stop the exercises. For example, the lady is fit, it's good to go with the exercise and all. She doesn't have any medical issues or history or anything. The ops has given a thumb up that yes, she can go. But still, there are some signs which you need to keep in mind that if at all she displays or she shows any of these, you have to at least stop today's session when she's showing these signs. This sign could be temporary, but you have to respect it and you have to stop it. The first would be the vaginal bleeding. Okay. if she feels spotting, she says, you have to probably counsel them that if at all you feel any bleeding or any spotting during the exercise, please let us know and you have to stop exercise at least for that day. Then, sorry, then dyspnea before exertion. The lady is already getting, she's feeling exhausted, she's getting breathless, and so there's no point make her do anything. Trust me, making them do some simple chest expansion exercises, probably using with physio ball, it make them exhausted. If you are making them do in a right way, they do get exhausted. Dizziness, headache, chest pain. Because headache, sudden headache, you don't know why she's got headache suddenly while exercising. Because it never happened that when you're exercising, you do not feel any headaches. But if she has developed, then you have to stop it. You have to send her back home, and probably if you are in a loop with the concerned gynec or ops, you can probably give that ops a call that this is what happens, and I've stopped it. Muscle weakness. Suddenly, if she starts feeling weakness in the legs, so there's a difference between a feeling of fatigue, lethargy, and a feeling of weakness. So if she feels fatigue, then you can give her a break or a rest time. But if she feels weak, then you have to stop your session and send her back home. Calf pain or swelling. So suddenly, they are very prone to develop thrombophlebitis or any vascular issues because of the compromised venous return and other components. Then preterm labor. I'm sure we all are aware about this preterm labor thing, that if she feels any cramp in the lower stomach and all, you definitely have to stop your exercises. Decreased fetal movement. So the lady is very well aware. She knows the frequency of fetal movement. So every time she walks in, you should ask simple screening questions. So how are things? How do you feel? When did you take your last meal? Do you feel any lethargic feeling, any fatigue, anything? You can just simply ask, and then you can ask that how's baby's movement. The mother is very well aware about baby's movement. So at times it happens that baby probably not moving as frequently as the fetus is normally does. In that scenario, also you have to stop your exercise. You can't make her do any exercise for that day at least. And amniotic fluid leakage. So uh, I understand that the primary might not actually differentiate the whether it's the amniotic fluid or it's the vaginal bleeding. You can simply just say any sort of leakage or any sort of spotting. If you have, you should uh, immediately stop your exercises and you should send her back home. Right now, these were the few things before you start with any pregnant woman. Now, the second thing which I believe and which I always suggest, is that you need to first work on a lady's posture. Okay, you have to examine the posture, because that would be the first alteration, which the prominent alteration you can see in her posture. That I understand. I believe. Okay, I agree that the lady would definitely show exaggerated lordosis, but is it a physiological? See, having just the exaggerated lordosis doesn't mean that she would not, because it is normal in pregnancy. No, that can lead to lot musculoskeletal problem like SIJ dysfunction. It can lead to the low back pain. It can lead to the pubic pain. It can lead to the knee pain. It can lead to the hip pain. It can lead to the heel pain. Even because when there is an exaggerated lordosis, because the body is one closed kinematic chain, something is happening at the lumbar is going to affect the segment above and below. To compensate for this exaggerated lumbar lordosis, then the lady would definitely go with the hyperkyphotic curve, which would ultimately push your shoulder into that rounded shoulder position and neck goes into the forward head. So if I start from head, the lady might have a neck pain. She might have what you call trapezitis. She might develop scapular dyskinesis, which is very, very common. She might get some chest pain. She might get some breathing pain while breathing because her posture is quite in a protected position. The reason for this protected posture is also the enlargement in or the heavy breast. So to support the weight of those heavy breasts, the lady further goes into that protected space. So if the lady sits with a normal shoulder position, doesn't mean that I mean, it's not that if she's sitting this way, she might not be able to hold up that enlarged breast weight or something. No, she can very well, because in that way she'll be engaging all her stability muscles. So then she might even end up having the cervical radiculopathy. She might end up having some nerve compression. So everything is interlinked. So first thing what you need to do is click a picture from side view and then correct her posture and again click a picture and just show it to her what is happening. The tailbone pain is another very common complaint during pregnancy. So if you work on her sitting posture, then you probably can help her to prevent or manage her tailbone pain. Also, she shouldn't be in one position for a longer period of time. First, to work on her pedal edema, to maintain her venous return. Second thing, if at all she is going in that all mechanically altered joint position, if she is in that sustained position, then she is probably hyperloading or stressing those joints a lot. If she keeps on changing those, if she keeps on changing her position frequently, then she probably can actually unload those structures which is otherwise loaded. For example, if I stretch this finger and if I keep it stretched for a long time, then I might have, this is wrong. This is mechanically altered in a wrong position. But if I keep it stretched for some time and release it, I might not feel much symptoms. But I keep uh, sustaining this wrong position, I would definitely start getting some pain. I might have some little redness over here. So the thing is that we need to distribute or disperse the constant load being generated because of the sustained posture. So Dr. Jyoti, I would like to have some questions if we have.
Yes. Yes, yes, sure. I request the participants, is there any questions regarding the role of physiotherapy?
You can
If
ask
anyone
any
is having,
question.
by the time if there's no question, I have question. So let me ask.
Please, please.
So actually, there is this myth. I don't know whether it is a myth or not, but it is a saying that those who exercise a lot in third trimester, they can go for normal delivery. Is it true or not?
Okay, so yes, sir, one of the benefit of doing exercises during pregnancy is inducing the vaginal delivery. This is one of the benefit, but this is no, you can't say that I assure you, I guarantee you, because as I said, the pregnancy every day, every week, every trimester, there are changes happening. Though you have a very healthy, active pregnancy throughout, but because of some changes, internal changes, something happened and you probably have to undergo CS. But probability of going for the vaginal delivery is higher if you are involved into regular antenatal classes. That's true. I have plenty of such examples, even doctors who were my participants who followed antenatal classes regularly, they were also willing to go for the vaginal delivery and they actually went. So yes, this does happen.
Okay, there's this question, is 6-minute walk test is
Mhm.
advisable? So they're asking it.
So yes, so Zoya, so actually if you use 6-minute walk test, if you go for the treadmill test, if you go for the cycle ergometer test, any of such tests are not at all recommended or advisable during pregnancy. There's no set criteria because what is 6-minute walk test? if I ask you that you are actually stressing the otherwise hyperloaded cardiorespiratory system. I clearly mentioned that no matter what, we cannot further overload the system which is already working harder to fulfill the demand of developing fetus and a mother.
Okay.
Mm.
Thank you. Is there any other question from the
There's one
participants?
question I can read. There's one question. The
Yes. There's one.
pregnant women go
Go
through
through back pain a
back
lot.
pain
Is there any
a lot.
specific?
There is any specific precaution for those back exercises? What about the exercises which are to be done in swim? Yes, so that's the reason I spoke about posture. So first thing, you have to watch for how this lady is sitting, how this lady's posture is, and specific precaution for those back exercises. So there's no, there's this one. So there's no, there are precaution like as I said that you can't make her do supine position exercises at a stretch. You can do like for bridging, you have to go for the supine. You can't do bridging in any other position. Bridging is one of the important exercise which involve a lot of your core and other muscles. So yes, that is one exercise which can be done. The pelvic tilt, which is very, very beneficial for the back pain. So tilt can be taught in all position, but it is best for teaching. That is crook line position where you actually you are in supine with both the knees bent. So likewise, there are many exercises which you can make her do, but if you make her do these two exercises would be quite beneficial. But otherwise, as I said, that there's no fixed set of exercise for this. You can do this. No, there's no such thing. You have to make her do and see how she's feeling. And then you can go ahead. Even you can make her do simply some of the spinal movement. She can do those spinal movement in standing and sitting. You can choose according to your participants' fitness level or condition at that point.
Okay, there's this question from Dr. Richa. Is there are any difference for twin pregnancy in symptoms or?
No, not really. Not really.
Okay. So there's another question. Cat and cow camel, these exercises can be performed if one
Yes.
complains of back pain?
Yes, it can be. It can be, and it does give beautiful results because if it is because of pregnancy, so there is a you need to rule out if this is a mechanical pain, the pregnancy induced mechanical pain. If it is that, then this exercise is beautiful. It gives beautiful results. Okay, there's one question. What exercise can be recommended after 4th month that can be low intensity exercise, and when to start with relaxation position? Okay, so all the exercises from first trimester to the second trimester remain more or less same. That's the third trimester exercises, which what we call is preparing for the labor. Otherwise, you can make them do all your upper body exercises, lower body exercises, either in supine, sitting on or standing, that you have to choose according to your participants' status and willingness. Okay, any other question, Dr. Jyoti?
There's this last question we'll take. What if any women have to undergo C-section or having history of C-section? Are there any exercise protocol or else any extra precaution to be taken care for a C-section lady?
Okay, so yeah. So are there any other exercise protocols? No. So the only precaution what you need to take is you need to check her for the diastasis recti. Okay. See, the C-section or the vaginal delivery, it doesn't affect your any other system unless she develops some suture related issues or the complication which is like hernia and all. Otherwise, just postnatal you have to be little. You have to take some precautions when you're dealing immediate postnatal. But if she has a history that one child was through C-section, then the second pregnancy you have to take any other precaution. No, you don't have to. But still, I suggest that you take care of that diastasis if she had any.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Shikha, for sparing your time from your busy schedule. And now we
Thank you all.
sign. Okay. There's this last question till the time it will sign off. When is the right time to return to exercise after giving birth?
So they say that 42 days, sawa mahine, 6 weeks is the time where you can actually, you have to be a little precautious and extra cautious about doing anything. But after that, slowly, gradually, the lady can actually return to her pre-pregnancy fitness level. She can start all exercises. Obviously, she cannot go directly to the high intensity exercise, but yes, she is fit to go.
Okay. Uh, we have another question now. After C-section, when can we do normal exercise? Ma'am has already cleared this thing. What are the protocol considered on the posture in a pregnant woman?
As I said right from the beginning, there's
Uh,
no fixed
is
protocol.
exactly.
You have to examine and use your reasoning.
Okay, so now we can sign off. Thank you so much again, the coordinators, Dr. Namita and Dr. Devanshi, our resource person, Dr. Shikha Singh, for sparing out their time and to organize the session. I myself, Dr. Jyoti Kataria, Assistant Professor, Delhi Pharmaceutical Science and Research University, give you a big thank to all of you. Thank you so much. You can sign off now, and your certificates will be provided to you all in 48 hours. So please cooperate
Thank
accordingly.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you so much for joining. Thank you, all of you, and happy World Physiotherapy Day. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.